So I still stand by the fact that I think Facebook is one of the most undervalued companies in the entire S&P 500. It's dramatically oversold, in a world where all these different businesses are about to go out of business because they cannot either get the supplies that they need or they can't fill the demand because the physical storefronts are unavailable or whatever it may be. Companies that are selling physical products are they're really struggling right now. Facebook is a software, right, and they don't have any sort of physical product other than the Oculus devices, which is a very small portion of their business. Keep in mind that Facebook right now is just Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, but they're also working on so many different things. They've had a bunch of little small acquisitions that really went under the radar over the last couple of years. Nobody's really been talking about them. So they've been working to diversify in a lot of different areas. But we're seeing a lot of companies that are basically struggling because of the fact that they have these supply constraints, or in general they can't fill the people are not going into the stores and they don't really have a demand for that product. So those sorts of companies are really struggling. Facebook, they're in a unique position where Mark Zuckerberg, the entire staff could basically die tomorrow, and yet the platform would still stand. And they have some of the best margins across any of the companies that you look at, in technology, and not even in technology, but just across all industries. They have some of the best margins that you could possibly imagine. So I think the argument against Facebook right now is that companies are going to have less capital expenditures across the board, and so therefore they're going to spend less money on advertising, on things like Facebook. But on the other hand, you look at all these small businesses that are now forced to basically sell their products online because of the coronavirus, right? They don't have any other choice but to sell things online. And so there are a lot of small businesses that were maybe not running Facebook ads before that now have basically had no choice but to build up their online presence. So I'm not saying that they are immune to any of this and that you're not going to see a decrease in revenue growth. I think that they're just not going to get as hard hit as some of the other areas out there. So therefore, whenever things start to rebound, you're going to have a lot of deep value there whenever earnings start to get back to normal. And you do have projections basically for decline in revenue for the next few quarters, but I think that those estimates are a little bit overstated. Now, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, so we'll kind of just have to see how this plays out. Of course, right now, it's a time in my portfolio that I'm thinking more about hedging across the board and trying to think about still staying within equities, but just trying to focus on stuff like utilities, real estate investment trusts that are not tied towards traditional commercial. I was looking at a real estate investment trust that's more oriented toward data storage facilities, essentially, and making money based on that alone. So that's been one of the better performing REITs out there as of lately. So things like that can diversify against if you don't see a rebound in the S&P and you don't see a rebound in the economy, you still want to own some things that are going to do well regardless. But I think if everything goes back to normal, Facebook is going to be in a really great position. Not to mention, in a world where you have valuations getting cut in half, who's going to win? Well, the companies that have the most cash on their balance sheets, that are very, liquid. Facebook has barely any debt whatsoever compared to all these other companies. They really have no debt. They have all this cash that they've been sitting on for a long time, almost more cash than they knew what to really do with. So now there are all these companies that are, at super low valuations that they can then go and acquire and bring on as a part of their business and allow for their growth to sort of continue further out. And I think one of the other things that I look at with Facebook and that I think makes them a great company is they've always kind of done very well with acquisitions. Most companies do very poorly with acquisitions. Statistically speaking, acquisitions across the board with any company, any industry, any CEO is typically not that, it doesn't do that well over time. Mark Zuckerberg has hit the nail on the head almost every single time. So right now he's going to find some deals, I guarantee it, and they're going to be in a very, very good position. So like I said, we'll see where all this, how all this plays out. I think it's going to take probably quite some time. My guesstimate is probably 5 months or more but I'm willing to be patient because I think the upside's so big. I think it should be at least above $200 per share by then. So we'll see, and of course you have to change those estimates over time as you get more data. So let's just stay up to date and see what happens. And if you're not already a part of our courses and everything that we do over at Alpha University, check out myalphalens.com. You can see more courses. You can see more of this research. And I hope to work with you guys and have you as a part of my team.